Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel. We're back for more of looking at the Evergreen cards. The Evergreen Investigator Marie Lambeau is up next. So, Monoclass Mystic, we get this whole deck at once to look at, and it's a really interesting one because there's some wacky cards in Mystic in the new design. So, Marie is a returning investigator, but her new investigator card is not much at all like her old one, except for her stat line. 4413 is exactly what we had before. Kind of interesting because old Marie could use that for intellect pretty well. And we're going to see if there's anything here that makes use of it, or if she's just kind of a 4 willpower investigator who has some ability to play some other cards sometimes. Okay. Dexter, of course, in the core set is the 5 willpower investigator, and traditionally Mystic is kind of use your willpower for everything class. So she's a bit of a loss on that end if she's just going to be using willpower compared to Dexter. But she's got an ability that is very, very interesting. Reaction after damage is placed on Marie Lambeau, so some damage token is placed on her investigator card. Draw 2 cards and discard one of them. Limit once per phase. So I don't know how many cards are in her deck. I assume it's 30, right? Because we actually know, I guess her deck size has to be 30, right? Because we have all the cards and there's 30. So she draws 2 cards, and that means she can get through that deck pretty quickly. You might not want to take that much damage, but as we're going to see, there's lots of ways for her to place damage elsewhere, heal damage, other benefits from damage, and that's interesting. In chapter 1, Mystics were all about horror. I mean, not like completely, but they had above average health, or sorry, sanity, and below average health. So a lot of cards gave them horror, and you needed to heal horror off of them. Agnes in the core set was kind of the big rationale behind this, but other cards in the future kind of backed that up a bit. Damage was never really something that they did. Now maybe we're flipping this. Once per phase is just wild because, like, you theoretically could do this all 4 phases, draw 8 cards. You're discarding things, which can be a problem. You're not really recruiting things from your discard pile, but I think just seeing the good stuff is good. If you end up drawing weakness, right, you have to resolve that one and you discard the good card. If you draw 2 weaknesses, you get both. No discarding. Elder Sign effect is very good, +0, but if you succeed, heal damage, which is probably what she wants as much as possible. Kind of like Izzy, who I believe has the same Elder Sign effect for healing horror. Let's get into it. Her actual cards here are signatures. Grandmare's Charm, this 2-cost asset, takes up the accessory slot and has a bunch of traits, but she gets to just take direct damage and replenish charges on assets. Yeah, that's good, right? You get the extra cards. You get, more uses of things that we'll see in the future. I mean, it's any charge, right? Most things have charges on them. I think there's a few things like the mask in the core set as well. Replenish means you're never going above, which is good. But yeah, I think this is solid, right? You want to do a lot of things related to this. Oh, it also includes 3 more points of health soak here. And this isn't running out. Not like you're using charges for this, right? Yeah, it's really good. Remember, I think the core set card also has something that lets you move damage around. So let me check exactly the wording on that card. Yeah, that card, Lucky Charm, is the one I'm thinking of. I haven't really committed to memory all of these cards. That one takes up an accessory slot, but lets you spend a charge from it to move damage or horror from a card at your location to a card that you control with health or sanity. So I guess with Relic Hunter, also in the core set, which allows you to have an extra accessory slot. What am I saying? It's just an extra accessory slot. You could have both Grandmare's Charm and Lucky Charm out. All the charms. And that one comes with 2 sanity, so some damage, some horror soak instead of damage soak that this one has. But yeah, just moving the stuff around means that you get to move stuff off of Marie's card and then keep using her ability. Just like for Isabel Barnes in the core set, Marie's ability requires you to put the damage on her, and she's got extra, right? She's got 8/7, which is 1 point extra than the core set investigators get. All of the Evergreen investigators get that extra point of health and sanity. Miguel gets 2, and that's really useful for her ability, which I think is really cool. Anyway, this is a great card. I don't have much more to say about it, but I think people are going to play it, right? Her weakness, put Call to Guinea in play in your threat area. You cannot heal damage. Choose and discard 3 cards to your hand. Discard Call to Guinea. I think you just have to do this. You need to heal damage probably frequently. And there's a lot of cards we're going to see that do this. Action, discard 3 cards is probably okay. You're drawing extra cards with your ability. You're still, I mean, it's going to be tough to have to get rid of things, but, and the action as well. Marion also had kind of a card like this too. I will point out, I don't have any more clarification about Carolyn Fern's ability. This seems to indicate you cannot heal damage means that other people could heal damage from you. This otherwise would say Marie cannot be healed of damage or something like that. It doesn't say that. Is it supposed to say that? I don't know, but to me this means you cannot commit a card or play a card or activate some card that says heal damage from Marie or any of her controlled cards. So if there's like a self-healing ally like Alexei, wouldn't be able to heal damage from him. That's my reading of this, but it is a little goofy. Other people could heal her, and maybe that's good. So, damage-related cards. Man, that's much of the deck. There's a lot of stuff here that is just something to deal with damage. Bloodstone, the accessory on the left, a lot of accessories, is very interesting because we're all like so used to seeing Holy Rosary in the Chapter 1 core set, which was identical to this card, except for that this is cursed and it gives you 2 health instead of 2 sanity soak on it. So it's like we have to reverse everything we knew about how mystics worked. This is really for Marie, right? For more places to put damage, but also maybe in the future we get more damage related stuff rather than horror related stuff to Mystic. Or maybe you have both. It's interesting because that was always like the design of Mystic to me, that the weakness is their health. And if you're playing Legacy, this is just a really easy way to keep, say, Daisy or Amina or any number of Safina, any number of mystics or ones that had mystic off class a little bit more alive. And finding the damage soak was always a bit hard. Not saying that like it was necessary to have that bias towards horror, but things like arcane research, which gave you mental trauma, and the just above average amount of sanity they all had, meant that you kind of were playing that way. So interesting to have the other version of this and how that might affect balance. I guess I don't have any strong feelings about that. It was kind of neat to have that one thing that class always had. And at the end of chapter 1, I've said this before, classes seem to be overlapping much more than I think they should have, because they could kind of all do something that was similar to solve everything, and there wasn't like an obvious strength or weakness. I mean, there were strengths, but I wouldn't say there was obvious weaknesses from any of the classes, because you could just find across the hundreds of cards something to shore that up. In Mystic, the damage soak and the accessory slot came with the most recent set, the Drowned City, with the exceptional card that was like this but gave you 3 soak and let you see the top card of the encounter deck. I have something that starts with G. Anyway, but that was premium. It cost you 4 XP for it. I think this at level 0 really flips the script on our expectations, and it's okay for them to do that at this point. Okay, especially with Marie, it just signals that. Sacrificial Doll. This is the card over here on the right. It is very weird. I'd have to say, like, again, the art here is pretty good. Like, all of this is really interesting, cool stuff. Like, the Mystic design is interesting. This one costs 3, takes up a hand slot, but if you have 3 or fewer remaining health, so for Marie, she has 5 damage sitting on her, it doesn't take up a hand slot. Okay. Do I want this in play? After you reveal a non-auto-fail chaos token during a skill test, take a damage and exhaust it. Cancel that token, reveal tokens in the chaos bag until a symbol token is revealed, and then you get to resolve that token. So symbol token phishing, which is what this is doing, was always neat in chapter 1, mostly because the symbols did good things for cards that wanted them to do good things, like Sixth Sense, Jim Culver, Song of the Dead, and maybe even for avoiding some bad things like Azure Flame and whatnot. But there was a mix. There were ones that were bad also. And in chapter 2 so far, and there's always the inherent problem with symbols, like symbol tokens include the elder sign, sure, but also the auto fail. And if you're playing on hard or on expert, then revealing symbol tokens and failing, or maybe even not failing, although that might change in chapter 2 as well, was a risk. It's like you just didn't want to draw them. In chapter 1, if you, as long as you're still passing the test, the symbols were fine. This is a tricky thing because it doesn't actually have any uses outside of the damage, and it costs you 3 resources. So how badly do you want those symbols? I think right now, we'll just think about it in the back of our head as we keep going. Most of the stuff that is related to symbols is bad. There's at least 1 or 2 good things, but that's like it's a build around card, right? I think that's relevant to have in Evergreen. I don't know if it justifies the spot right now. It is 3 resources and potentially a hand slot for a little while. Interesting though, right? All right, we have a returning ally, Arcane Initiate. Here's a place to put your damage if you want to kill off the Arcane Initiate. If you don't remember from chapter 1, if you haven't played the game much, this one comes into play with 1 Doom on it when you play it, but you get a free triggered ability to draw a spell card. There's a lot more spell cards in this set. You're going to notice spell traits on things that are not assets or events, which is typically the case. There are some spell skills, so that's pretty neat. Otherwise, yeah, again, you play this, either it's a long agenda and you're fine with figuring out how to kill it eventually, play it during the witching hour before Doom would tick over anyway. The Doom doesn't matter. It's a cheap ally, cost 1. Now, Jim Culver was in the core set as a level 0 ally, and oh boy, a level 4 version that gets you an extra icon. We love an extra icon. Oh, no, 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 no. It is much better than that. It is an extra health and sanity, and his ability used to be after you take damage and or horror, which is already great in Marie, right? Exhaust Jim Culver, draw a card. Now it's draw a card and gain a resource. This is very strong. You want as much as you possibly can in a single card, especially with all that soak. He's not leaving play for a while. And this is really good. If you're worried about economy in Mystic, you might spend your 4 XP and just get this guy. But there's more. There's more cards that get you resources. So he might not be a priority, but it feels so good to play something like this and just say, look, every turn, I'm getting an extra card and resource. For 4 XP, it's very good. Again, it's not just that. It's the +1 willpower. It's the 3/3 soak. This is like Garish. I might not be quite as strong because of the ability to use other players and self-heal, but maybe it is. Maybe it is in Mystic because of that economy. Wow, it is a great card. Uh, I mean, Arcane Initiate, you use at level 0 as a backup ally or something for Jim in the core set. But yeah, this guy's incredible. I think fair too. I think this is 4 cost, 4 XP is not nothing. But he's worth it. All right, I mentioned there was more economy. Offering Bowl, level 0 card. 3 offerings, cost you 1 to put this into play. If there aren't any offerings on it, discard it. So again, you have to be worried about this sort of stuff with Dexter and anything else that lets you cheese things into play, like the other cards you can do that with. And there's one more here too, I think. Though that's one's just for spells and asset or rituals. This is it's just that you have to use 2 of it. If you use the third, it's gone. Okay. free trigger, spend an offering, exhaust it, take a damage, gain 2 resources. So it's a weird like twist on forbidden knowledge from the original core, which was just free trigger, take a horror, get a resource. Um, you could do that 4 times. So you're getting 4 resources and 4 horror pings for Agnes. And that one costs you nothing. This one costs you 1. This is probably stronger though, right? Because you're getting 6 resources instead of 4, and it's not even a cost. You could cancel the damage somehow. And for Agnes even, you didn't really want to use it unless you were using her ability to do damage to an enemy. For Marie, getting the 2 cards and discarding 1, and then getting the 2 resources also, you can do this whenever you want, especially since it's any phase. Excellent. Again, the 1 damage is not nothing. So many of these things are damage, but I think for Marie, you just do this. You just play using these effects, which is really fun. Favor of Balshandor. As initial cost to play Favor of Balshandor, take a damage. Once again, taking damage. Play a spell or ritual asset from your hand, reducing its cost by 3. Playing this card does not provoke a tax opportunity. Hey, it kind of reminds you of some old cards. But like on the surface of it, this is economy, right? This is 3 resources for spells or ritual assets. And there's a bunch of those coming up. If it's something that fights, then you avoid the attack opportunity. That's really good. The damage is probably an upside. Not always, but in Marie it probably is. You can use it to kill off an arcane initiate. You can use it to draw an extra card with Jim, maybe an extra resource. It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean that I'm not sure what else to say. This is a great card. Uh, Certainly people will compare this to Uncage the Soul, which had 2 icons on it and allowed you to play events as well. Didn't have the damage thing, but you know what? New environment. This is also very playable and should be fine. I mean, sure, I would love 1 icon on this, but we don't have it. That's okay. You will still play this for its intended effect. So I told you before there were some spells that were on skills. It happens sometimes in chapter 1, not very often. But here we go. We get 2 of them. A level 0 card with 4 icons. Yeah, sign me up. If this skill test is successful, take 1 direct damage. This art is just so creepy. I don't like it. I like it, but it's hard to look at, right? This gives you an extra couple cards, you know? So, like, are these cards playable outside of Marie? It's really interesting. The level 0 one, probably still, right? Unless you're playing a 5 health investigator, and that would be Izzy so far, you have to be careful about that, right? For Izzy, you can do the bandages. There's other ways to heal damage in the Miguel deck as well. So you think about it a little bit more. For Marie, I think you just play it no problem. But I think the effect for icons makes you say, I should play this in anyone who could take it. Yeah. And then you get the upgraded one for 3 XP, an extra icon, and if this test is successful, deal a damage to a card with health at your location. This is potentially a vicious blow with 5 icons. Or maybe you're getting rid of the Doom on your Arcane Initiate. Maybe I don't know. You could do anything you want with this. Is the upgrade worth it for 3 XP? Probably. I like the extra damage. Like, you do all kinds of shenanigans for that. +5 instead of +4. There's so many things to upgrade in this deck. One thing that was always a challenge for Mystics in chapter 1 was how to allow for Mystics to play all of the level 3 to 5 cards. And we're going to see a few more of them coming up. And I think at this point, given that there are no cards that reduce the experience points for upgrading or spells or whatever, something like this may not be your first upgrade. Having played through the core set now, the new core set, there's a good amount of XP, but it's not extra. It's pretty close to what it was in Night of the Zealot. So 3 XP to upgrade this? Probably not. Probably not. It's very good though. I think it's a great card. It's just tough to find a spot. Here is Cosmic Guidance, another spell. Nope, another skill. And this one is very much like Fearless from Chapter 1, and there's a second level 2 from Chapter 2 as well. That those cards let you heal horror. This one lets you heal damage. If the skill test is successful, heal 1 damage from the performing investigator. Again, if you are Izzy and you commit this to Marie, Marie has the weakness out, this should work. Because Marie is not healing the damage, you are. But if Marie has her weakness out and Marie commits this, then no. Can't even heal from someone else. Right. So it's like the flipped Fearless. I think it's fine. We don't have an upgraded one. It's not exciting. It's only one icon. But it'll do the trick. If you have to make some cuts somewhere, this it's tricky, right? Because look at our other healing card here. Infused Life costs you 4 resources in an action, and it heals you 3. So Cosmic Guidance helped you pass skill tests. Like, that's not nothing. And it's fast. So of these 2 cards, it's like, how much healing do you need? Maybe you upgrade to some of the stuff that we see in a second. This card, I think Infused Life, it it's tricky. I think that it's hard. The card we saw before that let you take damage to discount a spell, this is an event. That one's only spell assets. So it's tricky. Like, this probably could have cost 3, 4 resources. We might have a lot, but it does feel like it's taking up a card slot that you might just solve the damage problem in some other way. But remember, you have to heal from Marie. You can't just heal, keep using her ability by putting damage on other soak. I don't know. Let's see how that plays out. I do feel like you might run this and just be safe with it in hand and never play it. And it can be expensive, right? It can be expensive because you're not playing it till later. I think you still upgrade it to something like this. Blood Ward. Fast when you play when you let's try this again. This is a card that is a level 2 card. It is a 1 cost event. It's got some interesting icons. It's a spell. Fast, play when a non-elite enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel the attack, heal 2 damage from the targeted investigator. Cool. Okay, it's a little bit like the Hypnotic Gaze from Chapter 1, but you don't do any damage back. This is just healing you instead. Cancel the attack, which is kind of already keeping bad stuff from happening, and you heal. I think it's pretty good. I think you're doing this. It doesn't even matter how much they attack for. The question is, do you like proactively do this? Do you say, yeah, let them come to me and then I'll heal, or do you do a attack opportunity just to heal? Interesting question. I think it's good. Another level 2 card. This one costs 2. Another attack. So it's like the opposite now. So you take all the damage and horror from the attack. A little bit of a cool guardian type ability that we've seen before from like Daniela, where you're taking the attack instead of someone else. And then for every point of damage and or horror, I suppose, taken, deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. Right. So bigger the attack, the more that you hit back. Any enemy could be elite. Yeah. Hey, this is a spirit. You should play this in Calvin, in Legacy. Yeah, this is cool. Good card. I think even the 2 resources feels fine. How much are you willing to? I think you have to do minimum 2, and maybe you can somehow get 3. Yeah, I like it. I'm pretty positive about these cards, mostly because they're interesting, and it's hard to like do the click math on things like, well, this isn't worth it, because I think in scenario there's so many other things at play, right? It's like, how much damage do I want to take for my ability to get through the deck for other cool stuff versus I don't know, like whatever else is going on the table. And it's sort of fun to play with fire a bit. I do kind of worry that there's a lot of fighting in here. This consume life card we saw before. Okay, this deals +1 damage. If the attack defeats an enemy, heal damage from an investigator or ally at your location. Right, so there are some cases where you want to heal allies themselves. We saw, like, for example, Detective Sherman in the Guardian class. So that's kind of interesting. But it feels a little bit like some Guardian stuff going on here rather than more ways of getting clues. We saw so many ways to get clues in the Tommy deck, and have we seen anything here? Most of this is dealing with enemies at this point. This costs too much. This is 3 resources. It should cost 1 or 2. It's too expensive. Maybe she's just swimming in resources, or maybe you use your spiritual charm and get the resources off of some enemy. I like this card too. It's cool because you can just engage an aloof enemy or something, get some resources off of it. It's not a resource card. What this is a way of protecting your teammates and getting a free move or free engage action. I think that is worth it's worth a card slot, definitely. You will play this. If it gets you just 2 resources, I think it's still saving you something. Remember the Burning the Midnight Oil, the Clean Them Out, Sneak By type cards? Those got you only 2 resources at level 1, but you're combining it with some other kind of action. Potentially this combines it with 1 action, maybe even 2. I think this is pretty good. It's not great, but I think it's like on the level of those cards. Burning the Midnight Oil was like a tier above because you could always play it, but it's kind of like the other ones. It's a good card. Even more spells. These don't really have the damage part. Well, Virtual Dagger does, but um, yeah, these are a little bit more like open in terms of other people might play them. This level 5 card, Bend Blood, lets you fight with willpower. You get +3 and deal +1 damage to the attack. So it's very similar to the card we just saw that just does that. But if you succeed, deal damage to every other enemy at your location. Each enemy dealt damage by Bend Blood cannot attack you for the remainder of the round. I think that includes the targeted enemy, the original fight. So imagine that they're all at your location. You need to get them engaged with you, I think, for this to be worth it. This is very expensive. I like the idea, but they've always struggled with these 5 XP events, especially the fight ones, to make them really do something. But as far as like the theme, very cool. Again, this can target elite enemies too. You have to find yourself in a pickle, really. I think it'd be better if they could just like not attack at all, because really you need to somehow figure out how to be engaged with all of them for that part to matter, or you're doing it in the area of attack type of situation where you've got some aloof enemies that have 1 health, they all die. That's actually a good situation, but I think you're engineering a little bit too much for my liking. I think this is just a bit much. Especially since in the core set, we have a level 5 asset that just does so much work for fighting. Hey, more fighting. Ritual Dagger. This is a 3 XP weapon. There's a lot of expensive stuff here, right? A lot of XP to shell out for these kinds of things. You can fight with your combat, but then you add your willpower to your combat for just 1 damage. That's probably not why you play this. You probably play it for the spell event ability here. So after you play a spell event, if that is, well, like the one we just saw here, you can recur these by taking a damage, getting your card draw from Marie, exhaust this, shuffle the event into your deck instead of discarding it. Reminds you a lot of Parallel Agnes Baker, who had basically exactly this on her Investigator card. This costs you 3 XP and 3 resources and a hand slot to do just that. That was very good. There needs to be healing in order to make this even better, right? Like, am I gonna take a damage to heal 3 damage with that level 0 event? I think that was a spell. Probably not. I don't know. Like the reason why Pearl Agnes was so crazy is because everyone just looped soothing melodies from the Hollowed Mirror, and that cost you nothing and healed you as well. So uh maybe this is good, but it's not going to be as crazy as that ever was because we don't have healing events that are that good. So watch out when we have a larger card pool. For now, I think it's just okay. There's a reprint of Cosmic Flame. That's from the core set. This picture is from the core set, but there's a reprint. There's also a way to do more damage. Hey, I thought we just had an entire deck of fighting. Okay. The Dread Curse of Azathoth. Neat art, neat card title. I know that that's a repeat of a spell from other Arkham Horror board game stuff. Exceptional. This really costs you 6, costs you 2 resources, takes up an arcane slot. This is our first arcane slot stuff so far today. Place 1 Doom on Dread Curse of Azathoth. Fight using willpower, get +2. So you're fighting at 6 base for Marie, plus another 1 with your, already forgot the card. The Holy Rosary, but isn't. The Bloody or Cursed Rosary, sure. Anyway, you're dealing the extra damage, great. If this attack defeats an enemy, remove 1 Doom from Dread Curse of Azathoth. If a Skull or Elder Thing token is revealed, remove all Doom. Yeah, okay. So this is your case of drawing a symbol is good. It's the first one we've seen in this set and might be the last. Remember over there on Cosmic Flame, I guess it's that direction. If you reveal a skull, you're removing charges. Anyway, fun. The charges are basically the Doom. Dexter can probably get rid of the Doom in some way, but this is only fine. It's tough when we have a 5 XP upgraded Cosmic Flame that just does more, I think. I think that's the evaluation here. It is pretty fun though. If we ever get things that say we need Doom on cards, then this goes up. So fine for them to print it. Kind of. I just wish they had something else that was part of the Doom archetype already here. I mean, the way to get rid of it is it seems fine, right? Like you can use this just to kill 2 health enemies all day long. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays. It's not bad, but 6 XP is not nothing. Well, we will finally get to do something other than fight enemies. Thank goodness. I don't know how many cards we're into at this point. It's 33 minutes into the video. That's mostly all the cards. We finally got an Investigate spell. This one is a reprint from the core set as well. Second sight level 0. Again, this one lets you spend a charge to get another clue at your location. The bad token here is the cultist one. The reprints are fine. Like, I wish it were another card. I'm not going to be too concerned about this anymore. It is what it is, right? At least at level 0 with the Marie deck, you buy it off the shelf. Here it is. You can get some clues if you manage to draw the card. But Marie can draw cards, so maybe that's not a bad thing. We do get a level 5 version. So in the sense that I'm glad that they gave us the spread of the level 0 and level 5 spells in Evergreen, if they had to make it go across the 2 products, Core and Marie, fine. But you're trying to do too many things at once, right? If the Evergreen Investigator decks are meant to be an extension to the Core, I don't want the reprints from the Core. I don't know. It's a no-win situation, right? I think most people are going to buy these decks and then say, yeah, these are the missing pieces from the core. I want my Dexter Drake to get clues or something. And only he had was the level 0 second sight, which is still very good. Let's see what this card actually is. For 5 XP, we are not increasing or decreasing the cost, but we have an extra charge. We get +2 for the investigation. That's already like committing a guts or unexpected courage every time you do it compared to level 0. Very good. If you succeed, you may spend 1 charge to discover 1 additional clue at your location or 1 clue at a connecting location. That's the new part. So you'll get an extra clue. This gets you basically 8 clues in total for 4 investigations if you spend the charges every time, but you don't have to. You can just not spend charges at all. Connecting location's pretty good. And then there's the same business about the cultist token. Yeah, I think it's good. It feels not on the par with the level 5 Cosmic Flame, which did 2 damage all the time. This one does 1 clue all the time, but so did the level 0. Uh, and yeah, compared to our knowledge from Chapter 1, which had things like level 5 Clairvoyance, level 4 Rite of Seeking, level 4 Sixth Sense, which all got extra clues and maybe even extra clues. This isn't as good. And maybe they're trying to like step down the clue getting pace from basically every class. And if that's the case, all right. Maybe they could throw us a bone and make this cost only 3 or have it be 4 XP instead. I don't think the whole symmetry between everything's got to be level 0 or level 5 needs to hold. Maybe in the future we get a level 3 version. I don't know. I think the card's very good though. Like you're making sure you get those clues. And if we can recharge things, it's better. But I bet it's the intention that the upgraded investigation tools are not that much, are not really like what they were in Chapter 1. I like that. Clue getting was too easy or too important, I suppose. So people just really ganged up on how do I get all the clues so quickly. I think the problem is that they are just as powerful at level 0. So what it means is if I don't have that much XP, I'm not upgrading this at all unless I'm never fighting. And maybe that's the point. Like you have to specialize in order to make this worth it. I think you could still do better. Shadow Meld we did see before in an earlier video, but it is new, exclusive to the Marie pack. This is the Evade version. Comes in with a little bit more charges. It's got 4 on the level 0 and 5 on the level 5. You evade using your willpower. If you succeed, you may spend a charge to move to a connecting location. You might not need to do that. So these charges, even though we have more of them, are probably going to sit there longer. Yeah, remember the Mist of Relia in Chapter 1? Good card. Very good. I think you had to move. Maybe you didn't, but it felt like it was important to do so because you were spending the charges one way or another. This one, since you don't spend the charges unless you want the move, I think this is quite good. Yeah. The level 5 version gives you +2. Okay. And then you can move to a location up to 2 locations away. Right. It's not one at a time move. It is teleport. Usually the scenario design makes that fine. Like you're not really breaking much. Every now and then there is something that you are maybe cheesing. But for the most part, it can't bypass additional restrictions that might be on entering that card that can only be like done by some other card. Like I've looked at the rules for this, like the train scenario in Dunwich, the Edge of the Earth climbing up the mountain one. Those you can't actually do that because those say that you have to have all the clues discovered on the location right before it, but that can't be fulfilled unless that location is revealed. That's what the deep dive into the FAQ says, and that makes sense. But occasionally you're going to find something that's like, well, I don't have to pay some other sort of cost to enter in anymore. So why did this need to have that? Like it could have just said one at a time. But maybe the power here is the teleportation, I guess. 5 XP though, huh? Tough ask. It's a tough ask for me. I like evasion. I like the level 0 one a lot. 5 XP is a very large chunk of change. Level 1 Ceremonial Robes. Reduce the cost of the first spell or ritual card that you play each round by 1. 1/1 soak. This is pretty good, right? If you're playing a lot of spells, like this entire deck, there's a few rituals here too. You just get to get refunded after the second one, and you have the 1/1 soak, which is okay. Uh, yeah, the fact that it only costs 1 is very good. Now, there's the Cloak of Resonance. That is the level 0 card that also takes up the body slot in the core set, which is it's expensive, but does some damage out. So this is probably just better for Marie because the horror part isn't something she's trying to deal with, but still, that's a good card. This is a different card. I will state my slight distaste for the fact that this doesn't have a reaction. It's just every time that you play a spell card and it's the first one, it gets reduced by 1. The old Rose of Endless Night was a reaction. You chose which spell you wanted to reduce the cost of. If the first thing you play during your round costs 0, well, oh well. And we're thinking particularly of the Favor of Valshandor or the charm one, the one that parlays and moves you and gets resources. So it's just awkward. Like I don't know why they needed to write it this way. Was it an attempt to make those cards less good, or this card less good? Yeah. So like if there's a 4 cost spell and you want to play the thing that reduces the cost by 3, and you have this in play, the first thing you play is the one that costs 0, so they don't stack. You can't reduce the thing by 4. Eh, that seems unnecessary. Like that. Yeah, okay, I'm a big believer in balance is important, and letting people be really tricksy is cool, but also you have to make sure that that's intended. I think that this is more trouble than it's worth. If this is their way of balancing those cards, it feels like this should just not be a thing. This should cost 2 then. I don't like that though. I think just make it a reaction, let people choose what they're reducing. The end. Okay. Last thing over here, Arcane Experience. This one is a way of having more things in play in your arcane slots. And we saw a good chunk of things. We saw the Doom of Dread Curse of Azathoth, the 3 different spells. There might be more things in the future. 4XP seems like a bunch compared to like Charisma, but it's like a premium thing. Charisma is important because you only have one of those slots to begin with. Same thing with Relic Hunter. And it's sort of balanced around the idea that this is more necessary. And Arcane Charisma, uh, Arcane Experience is maybe balanced around the idea that arcane slots are something that, like a third one, makes you just exponentially more powerful. I don't know how true that is, but I bet that's the idea here. Why this one doesn't cost you 3 XP, because it's otherwise been like 3 XP for a slot. Um, yeah, yeah. Again, good to have an Evergreen. Mirror Form. This is a very good card. A level 0 card that says cost you 1. Fast, play only during your turn. Choose a spell or charm asset in your hand and put it into play under your control when the round ends. So after your turn, the enemy phase, all that. Shuffle that asset into your deck if it is still in play. All right. I mean, big vibes from Sleight of Hand, the other green card that's in the core set, Prestidigitation. Very similar. This one is better than the one in the core set because you don't have to pay the cost. It is just 1 resource fast. Let me get that 4 cost thing out there. Kind of cool with the Doom charm or the Doom spell, by the way, because then the Doom goes away. Shuffling it back into your deck instead of putting it in your hand is a notable downside. So like that makes some sense. It's funny. I thought they were done with the put things into play business. I do like that this can absorb some hit for the charms that take damage. I don't think you're going to do that often, but you could. You could pick something that has 3 damage soak, put some damage on there, and then shuffle it back in. Even if you don't shuffle back in, it just leaves play, goes to your discard pile. I think that's probably pretty good. This is a spell. Yeah. Watch out. This could be very dangerous in the future. And then there's a couple skills. Torn of Power is the reprint. I don't know why this is here. I don't think it's that good of a card. Spend up to 3 charges from among assets. Yeah, maybe there's some extra assets that have charges, but it's not an exciting card. It just seems odd to have this rather than like level 0 Fearless or something. I don't know. I've tried this card in Akachi. I've tried it in some other places, and it just feels like the charge economy never really made sense in Chapter 1 for this until the very end when they started to print stuff with lots of charges on it. And I still didn't play the card. But I don't really think we're there in Chapter 2. Maybe with the stuff that you don't actually have to spend the charges for, you just say, I really need to pass this one test. Maybe Izzy will take it. Level 1 skill, Eldritch Whispers. We actually got a good number of skills here. 2 willpower icons, always a good choice to upgrade from an unexpected courage, maybe. If a symbol token is revealed during the test, place up to 2 charges or 2 secrets among assets you control. Interesting. So this one is the one that places stuff on. The other one takes the charges off. This one doesn't replenish. So whenever we get our Seeker Mystic, those cards that have lots of secrets on them, a little bit of a problem. Placing up to 2 is okay. It's not 3. 3 from Enraptured was nuts. Yeah. Are you ever playing this and just hoping you get the symbol token, or do you have to combo this with the doll or anything else? Mask of Salinas. Probably. I mean, it does. We're trying to seed some of the token manipulation stuff in the class here, so it'll get its time to shine. It's not bad. Last 2 cards, I suppose, that don't really fit into anything else. I will say, like, what's interesting in this deck is that it's almost entirely built around fighting and dealing damage or healing damage or soaking it. And there's not much room for anything else. A little unfortunate. I'm trying to think back to Jacqueline, right? Because Jacqueline's deck only had the fighting, investigation, evasion spells. And I don't think there was anything else that actually did that much. Everything else was just generic stuff. Token manipulation. Was there anything else that even did damage other than like the event that Hypnotic Gaze? I don't know. I can think about that. This seems a bit more focused, which is, I don't know, it's a criticism I have of these Investigator starter decks, that they're not really Investigator starter decks. They're a bit too much of, this is a Marie deck, this is a Tommy deck, this is a Carolyn deck, rather than other investigators can share the fun. There always has to be some, but I think it's a little bit much on the fighting side and not as much on the investigation. I said at the very onset, well, she could do some basic investigates, I suppose, with the 4 intellect, but we have not seen the intellect icon on a single card here. I mean, other than, you use the icons or something like that. I don't know. But there's nothing here that gives you +1 intellect or fight using, or sorry, investigate using intellect. There was a fight using combat, though. Right. Actually, Marie doesn't like that Dread Curse of Athos, or no, it was something else. Whichever one that did the fight and then the replenished charges or something. Anyway, I like this other card. Ultimate Sacrifice, level 4, 0 cost, fast. Play when the investigation phase ends. Repeat the investigation phase. Assumption is that you get your actions back. Please don't worry about that. Like, the card works the way it should work. At the end of the phase, you are defeated and suffer 1 physical trauma once per game. I don't know how you could. It's max against other copies too. So someone else can't play it too. Okay. I'm a big fan of the Deliverance card from Drowned City. That card allowed you to take a very big swing and say, you know what? I'm going to take a bunch of encounter cards right now, extra ones, in fact, for the whole team. And then next round, no encounter cards. Very good card, fun card, good memories, good standout moments. And I think this is going to be similar. The problem with it is I think you only want to play this in the situation in which you do not get defeated. At least that's the goal. And how is that possible? Well, if you resign or the scenario ends before the investigation phase, that second round of the investigation phase, the second time the investigation phase happens, I suppose, as long as you resign or you end the scenario before that end happens, you do not get defeated. You do not suffer one physical trauma. So, a lot of scenarios that I've played, it comes down to the wire where it says, I wish we all had another 3 actions. And in 4-player, that is 12 actions to move to the last location and do the thing and end the scenario, or resign, or whatever it is. That happens frequently. If you're really good at this game, maybe it never happens. Okay, not interesting to you. But it always comes close, and you feel like it would have been much easier if we got ourselves an extra phase without more encounter cards. But it's true, without getting an upkeep. The more that you need the resources or your cards to ready, the worse this is. If you're not playing, I mean, if you're playing like a Charlie Kane sort of thing, you're not interested, right? Please don't do this. I can't use my allies again. I don't think that's the case for most of the stuff in Mystic that we've seen. You are not contingent upon using that upkeep. I think it's a fun card. In Legacy, it's a shame that Calvin can't take it because it seems like he really would. I also want to say that the art is pretty cool. I think I read someone say that this looks like Amy Kensler at the end of Edge of the Earth. Deliverance also had the cool big campaign moment in the artwork of that card from Feast of Hemlock Vale. So I like that. I think that is very cool. Good art. Um, I think most players are going to look at this and say, I don't need this. But I think, yeah, because it's going to just sit in your hand for most of the game, right? But I, I don't think it's a mistake to take it, and it'll be fun to play it. It will actually do something. Much of the time. Not all the time. What I think suffers here is that in small campaigns, like 3 scenarios, or even maybe 5, you're not really going to take advantage of this, I think, in the way that you would in a larger campaign where the physical trauma also is a bigger deal. And even being defeated is. So, I don't know. But we'll see. Level 3 spiritual intuition. We've seen the starting thing with all of these talents already now. Uh, it's good if you need to spend your money on the spells. It's just spells or rituals. It's not exciting. Oh, that's it. We're done. Okay. Yeah, I quite like this set of cards. I think they're all interesting. The ones that I think are even a little bit like, I can see them supporting more in the future, which is a good start. I don't think like the numbers on them are wrong. I just think that they don't fit into an archetype yet, and that's okay. Uh, Always, as I said last time, it's always been tricky for these to be developed at the beginning without the rest of the card pool behind them to really support archetypes that just don't have enough cards. And they can't support like 10 archetypes in the whatever 60 cards they have or something. So it's, I guess it's 30, 32, 33. There might have been an extra one here with the exceptional card. I don't know. I think Marie seems very good. There are a lot of good stuff for her here. I wish there was anything to investigate with. There's the level 3 Augur of Elikos from the core set, but outside of Second Sight, nothing got clues. That's so weird. You would have thought that I don't know. Again, Augur of Elakos does the add two numbers together thing. So it's like old read the signs, but I don't know. Like, why we should have gotten something or an evade spell maybe event. It's not just the assets. There's probably a bit much here because of how much you have to support the damage and healing business. So that's a bit of a weakness from the Carolyn deck too. What makes this deck more interesting is that it's much more dynamic what you're doing with the healing and the damage. So I like that a lot. Cool. All right. We've obviously already seen at the time this video comes out all of the Miguel de la Cruz stuff. So very soon I will talk about that one. But Survivor seems really cool and interesting. Mystic seems really cool and interesting. A little bit down on the Guardian, Seeker, and Rogue decks because they just fallen flat a bit. They're not bad, but these last two have been very cool and interesting and bode well for the design of the game. I'll see you next time.